This is Dan Fluchop, broker owner of Lake Place Gallery of Homes in Pine River, Minnesota. And today we are talking about home inspections. We're talking, we have Kyle Holm here with Home Team Inspections.
Thank you, Dan. Again, my name is Kyle Holm. I'm the owner of Home Team Inspection Service. I'm a residential home inspector. I've been a home inspector here in central Minnesota for 6 years, and I've inspected over 2,500 homes, so it's great to be here with you this morning.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. A very common question that buyers ask when it comes to basements is, has there been water in the basement? Is this a wet basement? And Kyle, what do you look for signs for that when you're in an inspection?
So the most obvious signs, you'll normally notice it along the bottom of the walls. The baseboards, the wood baseboards will have moisture stains. If the baseboards have been replaced, another common place would be to look underneath the staircase. The bottom supports or the wall supports for the staircase will show moisture staining. And then it's how high is it up on the wood? I mean, I've been in basements where the moisture stains are pretty significant, 1 foot up the wall. So that is obvious indication that there's been a significant amount of standing water in the basement. The corners of the basement walls are telltale signs too. Normally, just because of water drainage off the roof, the corners of a basement or crawl space is normally where the most common moisture staining will be found. So there's major moisture intrusion problems in a basement, and then there's minor moisture intrusion into a basement, or just high condensation or high moisture levels in a basement, because a lot of people don't use dehumidifiers in a basement or crawl space. I notice on all the new construction homes, all the builders now in crawl spaces, they're putting a vapor barrier down, just plastic, sealed everywhere, comes up the walls and it's sealed. They're trying to keep that moisture from coming up from the ground. And then a lot of the new crawl spaces won't even have wall vents in it. They just spray foam the interior walls. They're trying to create an envelope in that crawl space that's as free from moisture problems as possible. And then they'll sometimes put a dehumidifier in there as well. So, and even with basements, homeowners should use a dehumidifier, spring through fall, just let it run. Standing water in a basement, I guess quite honestly, most buyers don't want to deal with the basement where if there's heavy rains, they got to go down there with a shop vac or squeegees and start cleaning off their basement, trying to get the water out, especially if they're planning on finishing the basement into a living room or bedrooms. The worst example would be I heard of this one last year, actually. It wasn't a house I inspected, but a realtor told me about a house where like this wall here, you know how we got the chair rail around this wall. Well, they had done that in the basement, in the family room, and all the bedrooms have it as well. Well, normally a chair rail is where you're going to have chairs. So why would you surround your whole basement wall with it? So what had happened is there was nothing in the seller disclosures to state that there was ever moisture intrusion into the basement. Well, then there was a heavy rainfall that happened last year, and they actually had water. It was completely soaked the carpet. It was sucked up into the walls. So when they had the contractor come in to remove the wall covering and everything, they actually found that the internal insulation, the batted insulation in the wall had been previously cut about four feet up the wall, and they had pulled it out and replaced it with new insulation and refinished the walls and covered it with chair rail. Well, there was nothing in the seller disclosures that had ever happened. It turned out that they actually did have an insurance. They did not have an insurance claim. They just did the repair themselves, so there was never a record of an insurance claim. Now that'd be the worst scenario for a buyer, right? Where, I hate to say it, but we would like to say that every seller, 100% of all sellers, are 100% transparent about any damage they've had to their house in the past. But let's face it, there's a small number of home sellers out there who, for whatever reason, they're scared of the implications, and so they won't disclose something. Well, the thing that they didn't know was that the insulation, the batted insulation rolls, have a date stamp on it when it was manufactured. So when they pulled the insulation out, they seen the date stamp and they knew that repair had been made during their length of ownership. That home seller had to buy that house back. So that's worst case scenario.